Afternoon everybody, another splendid day here on the ranch. What we got right here is a mimosa tree, and you can see that that dude is growing about 2 inches off the slab. This is the back of my shop, and it's growing up, and I want to get this thing out of here. Now, a couple of options I could do. I do have a mower on the front of my skid steer, but it's a little closer to my building for that. We could cut it off level at the ground with a chainsaw or a sawzall. But what happens with these trees is they will grow shoots up from that stump, and it'll grow 10 back where there's only 3 here. I usually just wrap a chain around it a couple of times, but with these smaller trees I find that chain just doesn't want to bite in there, and it just ends up sliding up the tree, and you just pull all the branches off and you're still left with the stump. So I have looked, there's a couple of commercially available products. I think brush grubber is one, and similar to that, some of them have a clamp that the more you pull on that clamp, the tighter it gets. Those come out, those are about 150 bucks. There's a one that's a group of 4 or 5 smaller chains together that runs through a loop and tightens down. Those are also expensive. Those are 75 or 100 bucks. So I saw this idea with using a piece of pipe in the chain, and I'm going to try that today. So I'm going to go back in the shop and see what we can come up with, and hopefully I can come up with a better way of getting these things out of the ground, roots and all. The problem with just wrapping a chain is it's probably unsuccessful 70% of the time, and you end up wasting a lot of time climbing on and off the tractor or in and out of the skid steer, especially if you're a one-man show like I am here on the ranch. So let's get in the shop and see what we can do. All right, so we are back in the shop, and while I didn't have a piece of pipe, I did find this piece of 4x4 by 3/16 square tubing. Now this is a cutoff that I got. I picked up one of these of about 15 foot long from the junkyard for scrap price plus, and someone had backed into this at one point. I think this was a post on a metal building, and it's kind of bent up and it's not really useful for anything, so I think it'd be a great repurpose for this project that we have. And so the idea for this project is to take your chain hook and hook it on the end of your pipe, and then run around your tree, run your excess through the pipe, and then pull on that, and this will all tighten down on the pipe. The problem when you do that is this wants to flop around. So what we're going to do is we're just going to put a small bolt right through here. It's not going to hold much weight, just to keep this chain there. All the pull is still going to be on your pipe. And again, we've got the chain hooked over, the chain grabber side hooked over the end of the pipe, and we're just going to find a link somewhere down on this end that looks like it wants to be where that goes. Now when I mark this, I'm going to mark it more towards this end because I don't want to pull on that bolt. I want all the pull on the chain. This bolt is just there to keep this thing from sliding off. I would normally center punch this, but this hole is not at all critical. All you have to do is get close. So I'm going to drill this hole in a couple of stages. And that's the perfect size hole for that bolt. So now we're going to get our chain. Hopefully this bolt is long enough. Hook it back over the top. Still lines up. Let's see if we can. Like so. Put me a washer and a nut on here. So I'm just going to kind of snug this up. This doesn't have to be super tight because remember, this bolt's not really holding any weight. You actually want that link to be able to slide just a little bit. You want all your tension on your chains. So that looks good. Let's go set up back outside and get the tractor pulled around and see what we can do with this. All right, so here we are back out at the tree out behind my shop. I got my pipe set up here. I've got my chain hook pointing towards the tractor, this end pointing towards the tree, and I'm just going to take my working into my chain, bring it around the tree, I'm going to take my hook in, drop it down through my pipe, pull everything through. Set it like so. I'm going to tie the other end to something on my tractor. You don't have to use a tractor. You could use a skid steer. You could use a pickup truck. You could probably use an ATV or a side-by-side. Whatever you got that'll pull on this harder than you can pull. So let me get this thing hooked up and we'll reset and we'll see how it works. Alright, I got it hooked up to the tractor. Let's give her a pull and hopefully we don't knock the camera over while we're doing this. So you can see right here, it did a pretty good job. You can see where that chain started to slip and tear that bark off, and that's right, that part right there is slick as snot. So if that were just chain, this would have just skint this bark all the way up off this tree. Let's see how hard it is. Not hard to get off, it doesn't really bind down. Let's see if we can, you can see right here where that pipe actually dug in to that tree. So I think this works. So far we're 100% success rate, and I'll take it compared to our normal 30% on trying to pull these things up out of the ground. Alright, so there you go. This thing works a treat. It any piece of random pipe would work here as long as it's big enough to get your hooks through. This is probably a really good size, 4-inch. It doesn't have to be 3/16. Any stout piece of pipe should work for this trick. Like I said, I'm going to try this out a few more times because I've been clearing a whole lot of brush and I got some of these saplings just hanging around. But simple, didn't cost me anything really because I already had this pipe. This pipe would have been going back to the scrapyard and I'd have been getting 2 cents a pound for it. So it's serving a purpose. It wouldn't have been useful for any other project. The chain already had bolts I keep on stock. You're not really losing anything, nothing gets welded. You just unbolt this, you got your chain back, and this will set wherever you set your junk pile until you're ready to use it again. So if you like this kind of content, just a regular guy working on his farm, showing you how to do things or what he's doing or how he did something, go ahead and give me a like and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. But other than that, I'm going to go get back into the air conditioning because it is hot here in the south. So I appreciate you watching. There you go. Have a good one.